Okay, so I've been talking about the month of Adar that we are currently in, right? And I've been talking about all the things that God is going to do, all the different ways that God is operating this month. And so, in order to align ourselves with His timing, we need to get in sync with Him and align with what it is that He's trying to do, not try to do our own thing and get God to align with what we want to do. We have to align with His appointed times if we want to get in step and flow with Him instead of trying to swim against the current for our lives, right? So now I want to talk about things that you need to watch out for this month, right? Because every time God does anything, we know the enemy is right there trying to oppose it. And so, side note, this information about the Hebrew months, his timing, appointed times, his feasts, his festivals, what that means for you prophetically in this day and age, not just like in the Bible. All of this information is coming from an ebook that I just released for pre-order. It'll be available or it'll be in your inbox. If you've already ordered it, it'll be in your inbox March 1st. So go ahead and get your copy. Is it real quick? Is it crazy to, is it like feasible? Like, I don't know. Is it like, I don't know, too much to like think like to have like a goal of like trying to sell 1,000 copies in the first week? Is that crazy? Because it's not crazy for somebody who already has a platform and already has community, but is it like insane for somebody who don't have no numbers? Like, I don't know, but my goal is my desire. Let me say it like that. I don't know if it's a goal because like I don't want to be disappointed either, but also like God, see, God can do anything, you know? My heart's desire, I really want to sell 1,000 books the first week, right? And so for books, if you don't know, if you pre-order a book, everything pre-order counts as the first week. And then that first, obviously 7 days post the book actually being available is also counted as the first week. So that's my goal, y'all. If y'all want to help me, the link is in the bio. If this is on TikTok or Instagram, if this is on YouTube or Facebook, check the comments. Okay, I will drop the link. Get your copy if you want to support, or if you just want to know more about God's timing so you can align your life with Him, right? Okay, all that to say, this is what we need to look out for. This month is about Esther. This month we have Purim. Purim is when the Jews were delivered miraculously, divinely by the hand of the Lord, and God used Esther to do it, right? Now, the reason why they needed to be delivered in the first place was Haman. Haman is an Agagite. Agagite means he's a descendant from King Agag. King Agag, A-G-A-G. King Agag is king of the Amalekites. Okay, so let's get into Amalekites. This is what we have to look out for this month. The first time that we see the Amalekites is in Exodus chapter 17. When the Israelites had come out of Egypt, they have already exited, right? They're in their exodus. They've come out of Egypt. They are in the wilderness. They are moving on from the wilderness by stages. This is Exodus chapter 17. They're moving on from the wilderness by stages, and they were camped at Rephidim, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It was at Rephidim where there was no water to drink. This is when God instructed Moses to take his staff and to strike the rock, and the water came from the rock, right? This is the same place where Moses called that place Massa and Meribah, meaning test and contention, because of all the quarreling of the sons of Israel and because they tested the patience of the Lord, saying, is the Lord among us or not? And that's a whole word because, in this season, when you're coming out of the wilderness, when everything that could be going wrong is going wrong. And you start questioning, did I get it wrong? Did I hear it correctly? Am I tripping? Is God with me or not? Like, is he trying to test me to continuously refine me? Like, should I even expect good things from God right now? Like, is he really for me or is he really trying to reprimand me right now? Is God among us or not? Right. So they call that place Massa, which means test, and Meribah, which means contention. And this is when the Amalekites came and fought Israel at Rephidim, right? This is where Moses and Joshua gathered up the troops. Y'all fight, go fight. This is where Moses held up the staff. He held up that same stick that he struck the rock with. He held it up. When he held his arms up and he kept his arms up, Israel prevailed. When he lowered his hand due to fatigue, Amalek prevailed, right? So let's talk about Amalek real quick. Amalek is a descendant of Esau. So the first time we see the Amalekites is in Exodus chapter 17, but they came from Esau. We know that Jacob and Esau, they had beef. Jacob finessed and stole the birthright, right? Granted, he kind of gave it up for a bowl of soup. He sold it, you know what I'm saying? He was more pressed about his flesh than he was the spiritual things, but I digress. Well, Jacob and Esau had beef. There's this bitterness. And there's this jealousy and there's this hatred that is in the bloodline of Esau now. So Amalek in Hebrew, it begins with the letter Ayin. So this Hebrew letter, the Hebrew alphabet or alphabet, the gematria, the numbers that are assigned to each letter, the pictograph that is assigned to each number in each letter, all of that is also in the book. So get your copy, right? But when you're spelling Amalek in Hebrew, right, it begins with the letter Ayin. Ayin pictographically is an I, and it equals the number 240 in the gematria, which means doubt, and it also means haughty, so arrogance, pride, puffed up. Amalek represents spiritual blindness, doubt, and arrogance. Every time we see the Amalekites in scripture post Esau, they are always present at every major shift that God is trying to do. So as I'm telling you, God is trying to do something big. He's trying to do something miraculous. He's trying to give a divine deliverance. This is where he's going to reverse the curse. This is when he is going to show up in everything that you have been toiling, travailing, thugging it out through. Okay. Everything that God has been refining in you, it's going to show up this month. This is where he turns beauty. This is where he gives you beauty for all of your ashes, right? This is where he turns all of your mourning into joy. As God is trying to do all of these things, you have to know Amalek is about to show up. Amalek showed up, or Esau, first of all, he showed up when Jacob was about to go into his inheritance. God had told him to go back to the promised land, go to Canaan, go to your promised land that I promised to your fathers, right? And as he left Laban's house, there was a whole thing, but he made his bed. He had to lay in it. So, he finally got both Leah and Jacob. I mean, he finally got both Leah and Rachel. He's headed out. God told him to go to Canaan. This is the promised land. And as he did that, he's on his way to his inheritance, to his destiny, to his promised land. And that's when he runs into Esau. The second time we see them is when Israel, they just left oppression. They just left Egypt. They're headed into the promised land. They're at their last stop before they get to Mount Sinai. They're at their last stop before God makes a covenant with them, before he gives them the law, before he tells them how to conduct themselves as his people, right? This is y'all's instructions before I send you into your promised land. This is their last stop. The Amalekites attacked them, right? We also see the Amalekites show up right before David becomes king. They burned the camp of Ziklag and they stole all their wives and daughters. The people was crying and wailing and wanted to stone David. And David had to strengthen himself and encourage himself in the Lord. And then he had to ask the Lord, shall I go up? Right? And he had to go up. The next time we see them, as soon as Esther becomes queen, Haman gets a little bit of authority. And the first thing he wants to do is destroy the entire nation of the Jews. They attack with bitterness, with jealousy, and with hatred, right? This is why they're attacking you. How do they attack you? When they attack the Israelites, it says in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 17, remember what Amalek did to you along the road when you came from Egypt, how he met you along the road and attacked all the stragglers at your rear when you were tired and weary, and he did not fear God. Therefore, when the Lord your God has given you rest from all of your surrounding enemies in the land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance to possess, you shall wipe out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. You must not, don't forget, okay? When you get there, make sure y'all kill him, okay? His whole line, period. So they attack you from behind. They attack you from the rear. They attack you when you're weak. And what did Moses do? He had to hold up the staff and he grew tired. They had to sit a rock underneath him. They had to hold up his arms, right? Moses grew weary and he needed help to keep his arms steady in Exodus 17, verse 11. The Hebrew word translated steady is emunah, and it means faith. So you have to keep your faith up, your faith steady. You have to lift up your faith to get the victory against the Amalekites. He's going to attack you from the rear. He's going to attack you when you're weary. He's going to attack you when you're vulnerable. He's going to attack you right before you're about to enter in. We're crossing over. This is a major shift that God is doing. He's going to attack you right now. Okay? Be prepared. Be looking out for him so you know how to fight back. I'm going to do a part 2 because I actually had a dream last night that it's giving Amalek. Okay? So come back for part 2.